Good afternoon, traders and investors. It's Will back with another one. It's Friday today, guys. So hope you guys are going to have a good weekend. Today was definitely a very good day in the markets due to none other than the fact that it was another broad market rally, guys. This is what I've been focusing on. This is what I've been waiting for to actually confirm if the bull trend on SPY was going to continue. And it is continuing in a big way. As you can see, the SPY gaining a lot more than technology. As a matter of fact, technology was one of the worst performing sectors on the day, even though it was still green. And this is what you want to see. When technology takes a slight breather, you need to see the rest of the market make up for it if it is deemed to be a broad market rally and a bullish momentum market. So this has actually been the case. Really, really happy to see that. As you can see, guys, this was indicated by the RSP. Now, as soon as you can have your equal weighted SPY outperform the normal SPY, you know that it's a good day. So let's get into some things. I also promised you guys that I was going to show you some charts, some stocks that I think at this point could be undervalued compared to normal market participants. So we're going to go over those, couple technology stocks, couple value stocks. Most of the deep value at this point will be in value plays, since they have been the ones that have not run properly as technology has kind of handled most of the gains for the beginning of the year up until now. And we're going to look at that, and I'll be releasing a video also over the weekend going more into depth over what I think my top picks for both growth and value are to be for the next 6 to 12 months. So without further ado, let's get into some charts. So starting off with SPY, big green day, guys. Love to see it. Gap up open this morning, closed near the high of the day, really didn't give back much of the move at all. Tiny bit of profit taking there in the end of the day, but this is what you love to see, guys. This is exactly what I was saying. Our next target was going to be around the 430 zone, so we're still waiting for that, right? On the futures, that would be 4,300. Big level that a lot of people were calling for. And as you can see, as of the weekly close, bullish doji candles back to back last week and this week. So this is usually a continuation candle pattern. So I would not be surprised, guys, if we do next week continue to the upside past potentially our 430 into some of the higher levels. So looking out for that closely, but the next line of resistance here will be around 431, which is going to be pretty much the last guy before we start coming up into these higher levels in around the 445 area would be my next target after that, right? So very bullish day on the SPY. Bulls are in absolute full control. Keep an eye on the 4-hour time frame. 4-hour time frame is slightly overbought, but what you do want to see is we've created so much space now. So now our 4-hour higher low, right? So much space could come down, pull back a little bit, and then just continue on with the bullish momentum. But I would not be surprised if we maybe only bull flag at the higher level and keep going, right? Because this is a very strong chart. Daily chart on the RSI has a lot of room to move. As you can see, not overbought at all. Technology, QQQ, right? So had a decent day, but nothing spectacular. Definitely not one of these massive bullish candles that we did had. But at this point, since we did break our previous highs, the line in the sand level for me now becomes 346.50-ish, right? To form the daily higher low. So anything above 346.50 at this point will just be a daily higher low. And it's good. The moving averages are kind of catching up. We are still overbought here on our RSI, but as you guys know, this can stay overbought, especially when we go back to the bull run, right? We can stay overbought for some time on this chart. It really doesn't mind, right? It's all relative at this point. So QQQ, that's it for the daily. On the weekly as well, weekly bullish momentum is confirmed at this point. My next targets, like I have been saying at this point, remain to be probably in the 360 to 370 area. This is going to be your next supply zone of resistance, right? That is probably going to be, in my opinion, where the bulls can potentially top out and then come down for some weekly consolidation, probably allow these moving averages to catch up. As long as the rest of the market keeps performing when QQQ does consolidate to the weekly, we will continue the uptrend on SPY. So really looking forward to that, guys. Bulls are in absolute full control. On the weekly, you can see anything at this point above, at this point, it's ridiculous how much space we've created, right? So anything above around 310, 311 is just going to be a weekly higher low. Bulls are in absolute full control. On the daily time frame, it's 346.50, okay? So financials, absolutely phenomenal day on financials. Sorry about that, guys. I guess my iPhone connected. Absolutely amazing performance on XLF. So as you can see, we kind of tagged our higher end of our resistance here right around 32.90. So we weren't able to break that in one clean shot. It was a gap up open, but what we have done at this point, guys, is exactly what I wanted. I wanted the bulls to create enough space so that the most likely scenario becomes a daily higher low potentially, and then a new daily uptrend. So that is what I'm looking for on XLF. Need to set and confirm the daily uptrend at this point by setting a higher low than our previous low. So this is a nice upswing, but we absolutely need this retest and confirm the daily uptrend to the upside, making a nice push off my line in the sand level, the purple line, right? Weekly chart, I love this candle formation, right? So 2 weeks in a row now, we've had pretty much bullish dojis. So the tails are on the bottoms. It leads you to see that momentum is wanting to push to the upside. MACD also seems like it does want to start curled bullish. And on our RSI as well, we are now above our average on the RSI. So it leads me to believe that this is the first time that that'll be the case since pretty much our March banking crisis drop. So it's very significant to me, guys. If we can get weekly follow through, the next area that I'm targeting, like I was saying yesterday, 33.50. If we can finally do this, this would confirm what we've been thinking, right? Is that we want to set the weekly uptrend in motion. So at this point, we did a very good job bouncing off the lows. At this point, I want to see the weekly uptrend confirm, and it's only going to confirm if we do get a break of 33.50. So congratulations to the bulls, looking very bullish on that. XLV. XLV, one of our biggest nice performers here in the last 3 days. It's been lifting a lot of weight for the SPY. If you want to see the heat map, guys, so today, right, was a very bullish day. As you can see, technology and most of our major players are kind of dark green. They did not perform as well, right? So the rest of the market finally doing most of the heavy lifting. Absolutely love to see it. Big day on energy, big day on healthcare, obviously, financials too, with a tremendous recovery. And finally, our consumer discretionary and defensive stocks are starting to play along, right? Nike with a very big recovery today. And so what we're going to look at, guys, is we're going to see if we continue to get broad market participation like this, the bull market is most likely returned and is here to stay, guys. We are running out of negative catalysts in this market. The only thing that can derail this market, in my opinion, at this point, is if we get some absolutely ridiculous inflation numbers, and really the Fed's message of having to go higher and higher and staying there for longer is finally accepted from Wall Street. Wall Street is kind of calling the bluff now that they are going to start decreasing rates here in the next 6 months because it's not as bad as it seems. Well, remains to be seen. The only thing that can derail this market is ridiculously high over consensus inflation numbers if they do come back. If they don't come back, and if we keep trending down, despite it being slow, that's a very bullish sign, and the market will have priced in most of the negative catalysts at this point, and we will be pricing in a relatively shallow recession. Most of the earnings numbers have already been revised down, especially in Q1 or Q4 of last year. You saw the earnings crush of big tech last year in Q3 and Q4. This year around in Q1 has been the value names and the more consumer retail facing names that have revised earnings down. So your earnings crush has already happened, arguably. They've already guided down for the remainder of the year. So earnings crush has happened. We're near peak rates. Inflation is still coming down. Russia and Ukraine situation is kind of getting better by the day. China reopening is complete, right? So we're running out of negative catalysts in this market, guys. It's just the truth. We were pricing in most of that negativity early last year into, I would say, for value stocks, the first quarter of this year, right? So XLV, great, phenomenal day here, right? So what you want to see now at this point is bulls have created so much space after this drop that, in my opinion, the most likely scenario, if we do get a daily downturn here, will just be for a daily higher low and potentially a new daily uptrend. So need to see a new higher low being set, right? And we're looking out for the daily uptrend at this point. Weekly engulfing candle. So it leads me to believe next week, guys, that we are going to get a further push up, potentially into these levels, which on the daily will mean we'll have created so much space, guys, that then we will see the daily follow through. And at this point, you could also say that we may also be setting up for a weekly uptrend confirmation if we can get back above these range highs. In my opinion, that's probably still a few weeks out, but just letting you know what I'm looking out for, guys. Obviously, you don't want to see us lose the 126 level, or that would kind of just consolidate a couple things, as a matter of fact. It would probably set us in motion for a weekly potential downtrend, and it would definitely, result in the loss of a potential daily uptrend and just send us further down into this area of support. I don't think that's very likely, in my opinion, at this point. IBM Russell. Look at this, guys. Finally. This range is 2 months old at this point, right? Finally cracked it today. The growth stocks had an absolute feast today, especially your regional banks, right? Look at KRE with a 6% day. So you love to see it, guys, especially on something like this. This is the first time, look at this 12 EMA on the daily, right? First time that the moving averages are wanting to cross above each other now, right? So the 12 is going to start to come back over the 26, and now we have closed convincingly above both of our moving averages. This hasn't happened, guys, since before the entire banking crisis, right? So very, very notable day to me. Reason I show, obviously, if you guys don't know, financials are 25% of the Russell. So that's why I pulled up the KRE chart. So what we're looking at here is a breakout from IWM. The bulls have now created enough space so that the most likely scenario when we do retrace, if we start retracing right away, then we're going to have to tag this most likely line here, which is my line in the sand area to the upside, now to the downside. 178, 179-ish, closer to 179, right? This whole area now at this point is going to become support. Really, really happy to see it because this was an area that the bulls struggled with for a very, very long time. What's going to happen on the weekly? Look at this weekly candle, weekly engulfing move, tail on the bottom, right? So it's a weekly bullish doji candle. Would not be surprised if we do get some continuation into the next couple weeks. Targets to remain on the Russell to be the 190 area. And at this point, guys, when we have a break of our zone, my options writing starts to come down here now at this point, okay? Starts to come down here, and my averages will be down here. But I will start writing options next week on the Russell aggressively under 179-ish, okay? So that's the area that I'm targeting because now I feel that we do have some really good support here. So bulls in absolute full control. Eventually, you'll want to see them confirm this daily uptrend, and obviously, you'll need to see them confirm the fact that, well, at this point, technically it is. It is now a new weekly uptrend, right? It's ugly, but it is, in my opinion, a weekly uptrend. So congratulations to the bulls for holding on through to the Russell. A lot of gains, in my opinion, to be had by growth names. If big tech does start to lay off and value comes back, we'll see a lot of outperformance in some growth names. Dow Jones, monster day on the Dow Jones, right? You have to go back a long time to see an above 2% day on the Dow Jones, right? None of these candles in the past were. You would have to go back almost to last October, I believe, right, to find a 2% up day on the Dow Jones. Actually, no, 30th of November, right here, right? So none of these big green days were 2% November. So this is very, very significant, guys. It lets you, these are the types of candles that reverse trends in the spot. So what I was looking at yesterday, guys, you remember yesterday's video, if you did see it, we were looking for this to be the confirmation of a new daily uptrend, right? Low, higher low, and now we've cracked the highs, right? So daily uptrend is set. We're now in a daily uptrend on the Dow Jones. What you'll want to see at this point on the weekly especially is you need to see them crack 31, 34, 150, right? This whole area, you need to see them crack that. What is this? It is an inverse head and shoulders is what it potentially was playing out to be. Well, it's now firmly in the cards, in my opinion. I believe that we do make it, guys. I think that this pattern is going to follow through. That's why I've been building some positions in the growth stocks, right? So on the daily chart, anything at this point above 32,700 roughly is just going to be a daily higher low. On the weekly, we're looking for the continuation here of our weekly upswing. This is going to be a weekly confirmed bull flag, in my opinion, as it's kind of flagged out here. And now we want to push. We want to find this second leg on our weekly move up, right? So congratulations to all the value bulls that have been buying the dip. Bitcoin looking fairly decent, guys. Not going to lie, with the rest of the market performance, Bitcoin is looking decent, and Ethereum is actually leading the way on this one, right? So if you look at ETH BTC, before we get into the charts individually, you'll see that at this point, Ethereum has now completed a breakout of this downtrending wedge, right? So this was a descending wedge pattern on the daily. So very, very long pattern, right? Even on the weekly. And we're now kind of breaking above it. So does Ethereum actually want to lead the move on crypto this time around? Well, it certainly is possible, right? So what we were looking for on Bitcoin, we were looking for a higher low compared to 25,800, excuse me. We got it. This at this point, in my opinion, is our confirmed higher low, right? So low, higher low. And at this point, what you need to see is you need to see the bulls crack 28,500. Are they going to do it in one clean shot, or is it going to be messy? Let's see, but they absolutely have to do it if you want to confirm this daily uptrend leading in to weekly further push. If you want to call this a weekly bull flag, then you need to see them break this 28,500 level and start to push upwards. Only then will I be able to say, okay, this weekly uptrend is now back into motion. But all eyes are on Ethereum right now because Ethereum is actually doing it first. Like, look at Bitcoin. Right? We've not even taken back much of this down move yet, right? But look at Ethereum. I believe that the clue lies in Ethereum, right? Low, higher low, and now we're kind of pushing above. So Ethereum, I need to see a break of 1925 in a convincing fashion, potentially over the weekend, which will be our first daily confirmed uptrend in a very, very long time, right? The last one was here and it flushed, okay? So now it's been about a month, right? So need to confirm this daily uptrend and need to keep it going if it wants to lift Bitcoin as well. The weekly is looking fairly bullish, right? Grinding off this 12 EMA here. And I would not be surprised if the bulls can get momentum. We start to push out into our higher levels that we kind of topped out in previously, especially if the broad market is this bullish. Well, we might have some very, very nice surprises in crypto over the next few weeks, right? So looking into some individual names quickly, okay? And then I will show you guys which names I'm looking at for potential catch-up plays for the rest of the market, right? Apple, another very, very decent day on Apple. Not the biggest day on Apple, but as you saw, guys, our major tech names that we'll go over, they didn't have a very, very outperformance day, but they were still up on the day. So Apple confirmed bullish daily uptrend at this point, right? Nothing really to see here. We were kind of commenting on it yesterday. Weekly confirmation here of the uptrend. Last line in the sand level for me is going to be our all-time high at this point, right? 183. 183 pretty much on the dot is going to be our last area of contention on Apple. The bulls are in absolute full control. Anything pretty much at this point above 176.71, just going to be a daily higher low. I mean, you could view this all as one uptrend, but on the 4 hour, it does kind of break it down a bit more, right? So keep your eye on the 4 hour. As long as we don't lose the 12 EMA, the bulls are in absolute full control of this chart. Congratulations to the bulls. Amazon, you know, kind of with a profit-taking day today. So this is what you could refer to as a blow-off top, right? When it gaps up and then just pursues to take profits all day. Not that bad of a day on Amazon. It did end up green, but I don't really like this candle formation, right? It leads me to believe that there may be a bit more consolidation on the way for Amazon, but that's fine. Anything above 119.25 roughly is just going to be your higher low. You'll have confluence at this point, horizontal support. You'll have the 12 EMA there as well. So it should provide a good level, especially if Amazon does want to just cool down a little bit, right? And if it does cool down a little bit, well, at that point, that'll just be looking for a weekly higher low, right? So the bulls are in control of the daily, the weekly as well. And it would not surprise me if we do get a tiny bit of consolidation. If we don't, however, you guys know what the rules are. Look higher on the weekly. This is our next supply zone. 130 to 135 is the next target area for resistance on Amazon. Congratulations to our bulls. Complete control. Google as well, right? Google, as I was saying, guys, it'll surprise me if we get below this level. Why? Just look to the left, right? So had a big area of resistance here. It's now going to act as support, I'm pretty sure. So as you've seen, guys, we have not been able to drop below this area. And what we're doing now, we're just consolidating. We're just cooling off the RSI, right? Cooling off the lower time frame RSIs. Nothing really to be worried about in this chart. It's really just kind of trapped in a very tight range at the top. The one bullish thing, though, is it's making this range at the top end of the move. You love to see that. What you don't want to see is this, and then make a range here, right? Because then it just looks messy. As long as we consolidate at the top here, looking still very, very bullish for continuation. You could even do a couple more weeks of this and it really wouldn't affect price too much, right? It would just allow for our moving averages to catch up. If anything, it would cool off our weekly and daily RSIs a bit more. and just allow bulls more time to accumulate shares. So I am bullish on Google at this point. I do not mind writing options anywhere pretty much below 118, right in this pocket area for the gap fill in case they do come down there. But I believe that any dip down into that area will get bought up relatively hard by bulls, which is why I would not mind writing options in this area. Next upside targets for Google at this point, in my opinion, will be the 130 area, right? So if we do make a push above this area, 130 is the next area of contention that we're looking at. Congratulations, guys. You guys are killing it if you're in some of these stocks, especially if you bought them from the bottom. Microsoft, same thing on Microsoft, right? Microsoft just chilling here today. RSI is still slightly overbought, right? But kind of another profit-taking day for Microsoft today, right? Grinding this 12 EMA on the 4-hour, on the weekly chart. Sorry if I'm jumping between timeframes, guys, but there's really nothing new on these charts, right? As long as the bulls remain in full control, it is what it is, right? So next area of resistance is our all-time high area, guys. Look out for this area right here. It's kind of a big area of contention, so there's no real one price. It's anywhere between here and pretty much 350, right? So 335 to 350. Keep an eye on the daily, right? So anything above 324.50 at this point is just going to be a higher low on the daily time frame. You know, it broke above by not by a lot. So if it does continue to consolidate here, it may even look like Google a little bit. What you don't want to see is you don't want to see a look below, retest, and then drop, right? If that happens, then you're definitely looking out for weekly consolidation. So that's just something to look out for, guys. But at this point, nothing to be worried about on this chart, right? Bulls are in absolute full control. So good job. Meta, same thing as Microsoft, okay? So Meta, anything at this point above 258.63 is going to be a daily higher low. What you don't want to see is you don't want to see a flush below, look, and then reflush, because then you will be in weekly consolidation. And look, guys, on the daily, it seems like a big move if I draw this line, right? Look on the weekly. On the weekly, it's just going to look like healthy consolidation, right? So on the weekly, right, anything above 229 is a weekly higher low. So tons and tons of space for that to be set, right? So small little profit-taking day on Meta today. It could just literally putter around here for a few days and it really wouldn't matter, even if it does come down for a couple days, right? As long as we don't convincingly lose it and look below and set a daily downtrend, the bulls are absolutely fine. I'm not particularly buying up here, but your next areas of resistance are definitely that 300 psychological level, which would kind of conclude our gap fill area on Meta, right? So really good job on Meta. Nvidia also seems to be kind of like a profit-taking week, especially after earnings, right? So what you don't want to see on Nvidia is something like this, set a daily downtrend and start going below. If you did buy up here, I mean, you're probably not concerned if you bought anywhere in Nvidia's past. It is some decent profit-taking, but if this scenario does happen and they start filling the gap, look, we'll only be looking to set a weekly higher low, guys. There's so much space. Come on. I mean, anything above 283 at this point is a weekly higher low. So very healthy chart, in my opinion. If you want to know what's happening, just keep an eye on this 4-hour, see if the head and shoulders does play out, and if we do get a breakdown below. So the levels that I'm looking for, line in the sand level for me, bulls can really not lose 377. If we lose 377 in a convincing fashion, I would argue that, you know, the daily downtrend is a likely scenario to happen as we potentially fill more and more of this gap. And your support level is just going to be your previous all-time high, right? So look anywhere about 345. 345 to roughly 335-ish. I mean, that's a fair price for a retrace, especially after such a large move. Doesn't mean that it has to happen though, right, guys? It could very well just consolidate up here. I mean, we're healthy. It does look like a head and shoulders on the 4-hour, but we're really not losing the 12 EMA even at this point, right? So just going to give it some time to catch up. The more time that it consolidates, the more time that the RSI on the daily has to cool off, the more time that the weekly RSI also has to cool off. So things cooling off is not necessarily a bad thing, just allows people to accumulate more positions and for the stock to kind of grow into its valuation from the public perception, right? Tesla keeps doing exactly what I thought it was going to do. You absolutely love it because it's so clear, guys. This stock pattern is so clear at this point. So resistance, we pretty much touched it today, right? The high of the day today on Tesla was about 217.25, and our previous high was around 217.65, this candle right here, right? So the level for me at this point becomes our previous zone of resistance, right? So we're very close to it. Bulls look like they may need to come and accumulate some more buyers down here before smashing it. that would be perfectly okay with me. At this point, in my opinion, anything above 195 is going to be a daily higher low. Tons and tons and tons of space to come down and accumulate a bit more positions before smashing through. But in my opinion, we will smash through. Weekly is extremely bullish at this point, right? So no signs of slowing down whatsoever. I do think over the next 2 weeks, we will be pushing through this area of resistance. And then what I'm looking for is potentially coming to sit down close to it, set the weekly uptrend, and then boom, right? So that's what I'm looking for. At this point, it's just a weekly move up. We have not confirmed the weekly uptrend. Anything like this would confirm it, or something like this is the better option in my opinion, because then you use this area as support. You would then smash above. That's what I'm looking out for on Tesla. So at this point, anything above 195 will just be a daily higher low. If we do get a little dip down here, I will be definitely writing some options in the 190 to 180 range, depending on premium. Probably going to be a bit more aggressive on it this time, guys. Probably going to write towards the moving averages right around, the 190, 189 area seems really, really good area to be writing options for me. Now, let's get into some, I don't want to spend too much time on this because I'm going to be making a big video about it, right? But I want to go over some plays that I feel are kind of lagging behind in the grand scheme of the movement, right? So first one's first, financials, Charles Schwab. Amazing company. You guys have probably heard me make the argument in the past. The bulls are putting in a really, really good push here on the weekly so that if we do keep pushing higher, the most likely thing becomes we might just set a weekly higher low and then start a new weekly uptrend, guys. This would be very good. On the monthly, it is looking like we do want to kind of do some bit of mean reversion here towards our moving averages. Schwab, very, very solid company, solid price to earnings ratio, P ratio of XLF. The entire financials is about 14.5. So it's trading right in line, right? Pays a decent dividend, especially at these prices. And we have ridiculous profit margins, guys. Most of their business is the brokerage industry. So their biggest risk does not come from client deposits or interest rates or whatnot. They have a cash cow business. They're the largest player in the brokerage game in the United States. Also have an international presence, right? TD Ameritrade and Charles Schwab, the two biggest, and they own them both, right? So very, very good business at this point. On the daily, I'm really liking what I'm seeing, right? We confirmed the daily uptrend at this point, and we've never really lost it. It looks slow, obviously, when you compare it to large things like this, right? It looks slow, but we are in a daily uptrend. I'm looking for the weekly uptrend confirmation as well. I do think there's some still very good value in Charles Schwab at this point for a financials play. Runner up for that is American Express, even though American Express had a monstrous week this week. I was writing some options back last week, right? Only in the 150 area. It's now almost 170. So going to be looking for a pullback here, potentially on American Express, to use this whole area right now as support. If we do, I will be picking up a bit more of American Express. But American Express, in my opinion, is one of your more, well, it was before this, right? It was down 21%. Now it's only down 15. But if you compare it to MasterCard, right, which is pretty much relatively at all-time highs, and Visa as well, which is pretty much almost at all-time highs, right? 10%. American Express represented the best value for a financial services play. In my opinion, very, very solid company, needs no introduction. Their margins are extremely, extremely good, right? We're talking about 13% net margins, increasing revenue pretty much every single year, right? Just an amazing company. And usually American Express customers are kind of like a higher end customer. So their revenues aren't so much cyclical because their customers usually still tend to keep spending money. So very, very good company in my opinion, especially in the midst of a recession. PayPal. PayPal, I'm not going to lie, guys, PayPal is one of my largest holdings at this point in terms of stocks that need recovery, right? So very, very good on PayPal. What we've done now, we've created a lot of space off the bottom that, in my opinion, the most likely scenario just becomes we're looking for a daily higher low, right? Anything above 59-ish right now is just going to be your daily higher low, right? So need to see it, need to set it, and then need to set the daily uptrend. Once we set the daily uptrend, we will know that our weekly bounce is likely in motion. I believe that this is going to continue into the next 1 to 2 weeks. We will get some mean reversion back to the 12 EMA here, at least in my opinion, around $68, $69, right? So that's kind of my next target for the stock. And then eventually we will have to reverse a weekly time frame as well. The best thing that can happen is if they do something like this and then completely engulf the earnings move, right? And then set a weekly uptrend, which at that point would lead us to believe that there would be some heavy continuation. But PayPal, I mean, the valuation is great. The free cash flow is solid. They have decent margins, right? Increasing revenue despite lowered guidance for the year. If you guys want to see the analyst forecasts for this, right? Everybody is buying at this point, right? So we have 28 analysts, strong buys, 5 analysts with buy ratings, right? So we have very decent price targets. The average price target here is about $92.97 for your analyst average. So very decent targets for PayPal, representing some good upside. I mean, even if we only fill the earnings gap, right, guys? We only fill the earnings gap back to previously, right? What are we looking at here? We're looking at about 18%. Very good move. Personally, in my opinion, PayPal can at least get back to around $95, $100 with some bullish support from the market. So that does represent a good, 50, 60% upside. I will be holding it longer though. But at this point, guys, they're time machine prices, right? You have to go back 6 years to get these prices. And keep in mind, 6 years ago, PayPal's revenue was roughly half of what it is today. You can't see 2017 here, but it was around 13 billion, and we pulled in 27 last year. So very good opportunity for some mean reversion, in my opinion here. Estee Lauder. Estee Lauder, this is a legacy company that arguably needs no introduction. They're in the beauty segment. They got hit kind of hard, especially in the last couple of weeks from their earnings, right? It does appear now that the bears are running out of momentum on this stock to the downside. It's got shorted, and you can see that on the weekly, any time that it does come down into our lower end of our RSI, it kind of gets bought up relatively quickly. Here, you also have an opportunity here. This was COVID, right? Down here, 2016, you can see it bottoms out and comes back. This stock has not traded below its 200 weekly moving average much since the recession of 08-09. As you can see, this green line is the 200 week moving average. We're well below that now. So it does, in my opinion, require some mean reversion at this point. Estee Lauder, legacy company. They make a lot of money. The fact that they dropped was really lowered guidance. But at this point, guys, what I was saying earlier in the video, most of our value companies have now guided down and, in my opinion, sandbagged the expectations for the remainder of the year, meaning they have underestimated what consumers can possibly do for the remainder of the year. They're pricing in the recession. So this is the time where Wall Street starts to price in the worst scenarios right away. So that way, if these guys do beat, you're going to have some nice surprises to the upside. In my opinion, this stock represents a good buying opinion. The last time you could get these prices, if you didn't snipe the dip right here back in October, was pretty much in 2020. At this point, guys, I know it seems like yesterday, but that's already 3 years ago, right? 3 years ago, and prior to that, 4 years ago in October 2019, right? Obviously, you had the March 2020 dip, but just in terms of price relevancy, right? Time machine prices once again for a company that has done nothing but grow revenues since 2020. As you can see, they are not slowing down, very decent margins, right? And the analyst forecasts also are all currently above the stock price. So this is what I like to see. Everybody except for one guy has buy targets on this company, and the buy targets are 208, 239, and 270. So if we take our average of 239, right, that's back before the earnings drop. Let's say they do get back to 240, 28% upside. And if you want to ride it all the way to the all-time high because you have a long-term portfolio, you're looking at 100% gain pretty much, right? Because it's down roughly 50% from all-time high. Very good pick in my opinion. Costco, not financial advice. All right. So Costco, in my opinion, at this point, we are starting to potentially get the breakout, okay? It's looking like it wants to do it at this point, all right? But I've been paying very close attention to Costco. It looks like it does want to start breaking out of this range, right? Coiling up on the monthly chart. You can see that we're now above our 12 monthly EMA. I'm not saying that this play is undervalued. I'm just saying that in my opinion, this play potentially has some room to move to the upside. Been consolidating for a while. Costco, one of my favorite companies in the entire market. I mean, needs no introduction, right? So fairly conservative. I mean, everybody says that the price is rich. I don't think it's rich in my opinion. This company has an insane business model, ever-growing customer base. Their recurring revenue streams are absolutely amazing. The quality of their products is amazing. And I don't know where you guys live, but where I live in Canada, and I've been to Costco's all across a couple different provinces here in Canada and a few in the States, it is always, always, always busy. People love Costco. I love Costco as well. Hello? Let me just leave that in there. Okay, guys, so we're going to continue without the green screen, apparently. All right, I would have continued without the green screen. I really don't mind, but it's just like you can't see a lot of behind me. You know what I mean? So it kind of takes up too much of the screen. So sorry about that. So yeah, Costco, like I was saying, I do believe this company has some good upside. And I think that this consolidating range here will break bullish. Okay, so that's pretty much it for Costco there. Another beaten down play, in my opinion. Let me just go have a look here. Sorry, there it is. Enphase. Enphase. Okay. So Enphase is one that now we are currently around 47% off all-time highs. Now, I do know that there is potentially going to be a housing slowdown in the latter part of 2023. However, I do think that on last earnings, Enphase did sandbag their own guidance, just as many other companies have. In light of the potential recession, they want to protect themselves. They don't want people to be able to say, well, you guys didn't warn us, right? So I think that's what they've been doing. And Enphase at this point, in terms of the price action, has been creating a lot of space off our lows here to cement this as a daily uptrend. We're now well above our moving averages, something that we have not been now for over a month at this point. So I do believe that once we find our local bottom on the daily here, the next potential pattern is for a daily upswing. I do think that we are going to fill this gap here at least. So if we do start to pull back here in the moving average, 176 all the way to our gap fill, that represents a nice 25% gain. And I do believe in Enphase as a long-term company. So this is a long-term hold for me. As you can see, we're below our monthly moving averages, something that has not happened, guys, ever since this stock started running back in 2019. So very, very good. They do have buying power, right? Going into the recession, they have a lot of cash on hand, very decent revenues, decent margins, ever expanding company. And you guys can see the analyst expectations. The minimum is slightly below price, but we were just there. We were literally just under 170 a few days ago. The average is sitting at 250, and the maximum obviously is back at all-time highs, but you can see only one guy selling, increasing revenues. Oh, you guys can't, sorry about that. Other way. Increasing revenues for the remainder of the next 3-4 years, guys. So very, very good company, in my opinion, to be looking at. And one last play that I have to show you guys that we've talked about a lot on this channel is Nike. Nike has been one that's kind of been beaten down. I just want to show you guys on the monthly. Nike usually doesn't trade much under its 26 EMA for too long, right? Even since the recession, right? So never trades for too long under its 26 EMA. This was obviously the massive crash of last year. And now what we're trying to kind of do is we are trying to set somewhat of we're trying to reverse the monthly time frame right at this point, okay? So what we're looking for, they did a very good job today of bottoming out on the weekly. We were daily oversold now. If you've watched my videos the last few days, big position of mine at this point. I've been kind of averaging in, got assigned here at 111, wrote some more puts at 107 and had some more at 103, right? Didn't get assigned the 107s today. Wouldn't have minded them, but we now filled the gap. So Nike, very, very decent play in my opinion here to be looking at. Anything under $100, in my opinion, is a bargain for this company in terms of valuations. Price to earnings is not that rich. They do pay a dividend. Keep in mind, it is Nike. We do have increasing revenue guidance here for the next 2-3 years. Analyst expectations on this one, okay, are mostly above current price. Our minimum guy is slightly below at 95, but like I was saying, good bargain if we do get down there. The average is where we were pretty much before the drop, and the high 160, which is not all-time highs. This stock is currently benefiting from a discount to the all-time high from about 40%, right? Anything under 100 would be almost 45%. So very, very decent value for Nike, in my opinion. Now, there's a bunch more, but I don't want to keep this video too long. So what I'm going to do is over the weekend, we're going to go over more and more stocks here. I'm going to make a video, top 10 growth plays and top 10 value plays that I'm looking at in terms of where they're sitting on a technical level, how far they are from all-time highs, the story behind them, if they're a good, profitable company. You guys might know me by now. I don't really choose garbage companies. They're all household names for the most part. They're just underperforming the rest of the market. So that's what we're going to be looking into. Hope you guys like this daily market update. Hope you guys had a great week. Keep in mind, it's the weekend coming up. Relax. Maybe do some research, do some work on yourself, go to the gym, see some friends, see some family, right? Get all the most of it that you can, guys, because life is very, very short. It's not all about charts and money. You really need to live experiences and whatnot. That's what's the most important. So I love you guys. Take care. Have a great weekend. I'll be uploading on this weekend for sure. And I will see you soon. Love you all. Take care.